So because there's going to be so much happening in Canadian politics and so much that impacts your life, I'm going to ask you to do one thing before I break down what's about to happen, and that's to click on the link that's in the comments if you're watching this on Facebook, or the link that's in the video description if you're watching this on YouTube. There's an article there which breaks down, it was a prediction that I made yesterday. Everything in there has come to pass so far.
The political landscape in Canada is witnessing an unprecedented shift, and tonight, the news coming out of Ottawa is monumental. Reports of Prime Minister Justin Trudeau planning to announce his exit as party leader appear to be credible, signaling a seismic moment in Canadian politics.
Now, just a few minutes ago, one of Canada's top reporters, investigative reporters, Robert Fife, with the Globe and Mail, and Marika Walsh, these are two of Canada's top investigative journalists. Even with the mainstream media, they're the ones who always have they're the ones who break the stories no one else.
As these developments unfold, I am here to provide you with every detail I've gathered from trusted sources and reports in the media. This information is not only significant, but also essential to understanding the implications for Canada in the coming days. Before diving into the specifics, I must ask a small favor from you. With so much happening so quickly, it's crucial to stay connected and informed. Unfortunately, due to the censorship agenda that the Liberal Party has implemented, bolstered by legislation like Bill C-11, C-18, and C-63, mainstream media and social platforms may not fully cover these events. To ensure that you remain updated without interference from social media algorithms or restrictions, I encourage you to click the link in the comments or video description. By subscribing, I can directly share updates with you as this historic situation evolves, bypassing the barriers created by Trudeau's policies. Yesterday, I reported on a key development. A 6-hour Liberal caucus meeting was scheduled for Wednesday, a strong indication that significant announcements were imminent. That prediction is proving accurate, as investigative journalists Robert Fife and Stephen Chase from the Globe and Mail, two of Canada's most reliable sources, have confirmed that Trudeau is expected to announce his resignation as Liberal Party leader ahead of the National Caucus meeting. This breaking news aligns with earlier information I shared, and while it may feel like a victory for those frustrated with Trudeau's leadership, the situation is far more complex. Trudeau's resignation doesn't necessarily mean his immediate departure from power or the initiation of a general election. Instead, reports suggest he intends to remain as interim leader while suspending Parliament to facilitate a lengthy Liberal leadership race. This strategy would grant Liberal insiders ample time to select a successor without facing public scrutiny or immediate electoral pressure. To put this in simple terms, Trudeau's resignation as party leader doesn't equate to stepping down as Prime Minister. By proroguing Parliament, he could effectively freeze the legislative process, delaying a potential vote of no confidence that the Conservative Party is prepared to force when Parliament reconvenes. This maneuver is designed to shield the Liberal Party from accountability during this critical juncture. For Canadians hoping that Trudeau's resignation signals an end to his policies and leadership style, this strategy may feel like a betrayal. Every potential candidate for the Liberal leadership will likely be cut from the same cloth as Trudeau, perpetuating the status quo rather than offering meaningful change. When I first heard about Trudeau's expected announcement, I experienced a mix of emotions. Having opposed his leadership for 9 years, the idea of his exit felt like a long-awaited breakthrough. However, as the details emerged, it became clear that this development is not a straightforward victory for his critics or a turning point for Canadian politics. Trudeau's decision to suspend Parliament and oversee the leadership race himself raises serious concerns about democratic transparency and accountability. If this plan proceeds, Canada will face a prolonged period without a functioning Parliament, leaving critical issues unaddressed. These include the ongoing economic challenges, rising crime rates, a strained immigration system, and the impact of Liberal spending policies, all of which demand immediate attention. This is a pivotal moment in Canadian history, and the decisions made in the next 72 hours will shape the nation's future for years to come. Trudeau and his party are attempting to convince Canadians that shutting down Parliament is necessary to allow the Liberal leadership race to proceed. This argument, likely to be echoed by mainstream media outlets like CBC, ignores the fundamental principle that Canadians deserve a say in who governs their country. It's vital to understand that this is not just a Liberal Party issue. The New Democratic Party, NDP, which has supported Trudeau's government, shares responsibility for the current state of affairs. Their alignment with the Liberals on key policies has contributed to the erosion of democratic accountability. As a nation, we must demand better. Trudeau's resignation as party leader should trigger a general election, allowing Canadians to decide the country's direction. Instead, the Liberals are orchestrating a backroom process to select a new leader without public input. This approach prioritizes the party's interests over the nation's, undermining the democratic process. The Conservative Party is prepared to challenge these tactics at every turn, but we need your support. By staying informed, sharing this information, and raising your voice, you can play a crucial role in holding the government accountable. If Parliament is prorogued, it will halt not only the legislative process, but also critical committee work, including efforts to scrutinize government spending and policies. This move would shield Trudeau and his party from facing tough questions about their record, including their handling of carbon taxes, economic policy, and international relations. It's worth noting that this situation is unfolding against the backdrop of significant global and domestic challenges. The prospect of a new U.S. administration under Donald Trump presents unique diplomatic and trade considerations for Canada. Without a functioning parliament, Canada's ability to navigate these complexities effectively will be severely hampered. Additionally, the Liberals' approach to governance, characterized by secrecy and a lack of accountability, has eroded public trust. Trudeau's attempt to remain as interim leader while suspending Parliament exemplifies this trend. It is a stark reminder of the need for a government that prioritizes transparency and puts the interests of Canadians first. This moment demands vigilance and action. The Liberal Party's attempt to control the narrative and sideline democratic processes must be met with firm resistance. We must advocate for a general election to ensure that the next Prime Minister has a clear mandate from the people. Anything less would be an affront to the democratic principles that underpin our nation. For those who may still believe that Trudeau's resignation signals a fresh start, it's important to recognize the broader context. The Liberal Party's internal dynamics and its track record suggest that a change in leadership is unlikely to result in a meaningful shift in policy or governance style. This is why it's crucial to focus on the bigger picture and demand systemic change through a fair and transparent electoral process. In closing, I urge you to stay informed and engaged. Share this message with others, subscribe to receive updates, and join the growing chorus of Canadians calling for accountability and change. The next few days will be critical in shaping the future of our country. Together, we can ensure that this moment of political upheaval leads to a stronger, more democratic Canada. Let us not allow partisan interests to override the will of the people. The time for action is now, and your voice matters. The political landscape in Canada is buzzing with news that could shape the future of the nation for years to come. Reports from reliable sources indicate that Prime Minister Justin Trudeau is on the verge of announcing his resignation as the leader of the Liberal Party. This revelation, which many have anticipated for months, is sparking both celebration and concern across the country. The situation is fluid, with fast-moving developments, and it's crucial to understand what this means for Canada's governance and democratic processes. While some are welcoming the end of Trudeau's tenure, there are significant implications tied to his potential strategy for stepping down. Trudeau's reported plan is not a straightforward resignation followed by a general election. Instead, he is expected to remain as an interim leader while suspending Parliament through prorogation. This move, if confirmed, would allow the Liberal Party to hold an extended leadership race without the scrutiny of parliamentary oversight. Such a strategy raises concerns about the erosion of democratic accountability. By shutting down Parliament, key issues such as government spending, rising taxes, crime, and immigration challenges could be left unaddressed for months. Canadians would essentially be left without a functioning legislature during a period of significant national and global uncertainty. This maneuver also highlights a broader issue within the Liberal Party. Critics argue that a leadership race among party insiders will do little to address the systemic problems that have plagued Trudeau's government. Any new leader emerging from this process is likely to be someone who has been complicit in the decisions and policies of the past 9 years. This has led some to describe the situation as a Clone Wars scenario, where the options available to Canadians remain fundamentally the same, despite a change in leadership. The timing of this potential announcement is also significant. Trudeau's reported strategy to prorogue Parliament could prevent the opposition Conservative Party from introducing a non-confidence motion. The Conservatives have been preparing to challenge the government's legitimacy when Parliament reconvenes, but a suspension would delay this process and give the Liberals time to regroup and fundraise. Such a move could further frustrate Canadians who are already disillusioned with what they perceive as a lack of transparency and accountability in their government. For many, the next few days represent a critical juncture. The Liberal Party's apparent plan to delay a general election and prioritize internal party politics over national governance has sparked outrage among opposition leaders and concerned citizens alike. There is a growing call for a general election to allow Canadians to choose their next government democratically. Anything less, critics argue, would undermine the principles of accountability and fairness that form the foundation of Canadian democracy. The stakes are high, and the unfolding events will likely dominate national discourse in the coming days. Whether this situation leads to meaningful change or further political drama remains to be seen. However, one thing is clear. The next steps taken by Trudeau and the Liberal Party will have profound implications for Canada's political future.